Hey guys, Mr. Jankart here again. Welcome to the Elements of Art. We're going to begin this process of learning about the elements of art. We use our sketchbooks to learn about these and to practice what the elements of art are. Today we'll be talking about line, but line being our first, I'm going to just kind of briefly introduce what the elements of art are. So the elements of art are the building blocks of art. They're what we use, the practical things to make art. And they're very simple. None of it's hard to understand. But what I tell my students every year is the more you understand about these elements, the better you can use them. And that's the purpose, is to use them. So the 7 elements of art are line, shape, color, texture, value, space, and form. So again, we're going to talk about line today. So let me get my face off of here so we can see this work of art. Okay, so line is an element of art that is a point moving through space. So when you create a line, you're putting your pencil down or your pen or your paintbrush or whatever it may be, and you are dragging the point as you go. We use it to define space. You can see here in this, you've got this fish, right? And if I go around the outside line of it, that line that's around the outside defines the space of the fish. That's what that means. The contours are simply like the curved and straight lines. They might be zigzag lines. It suggests mass and volume. Mass is simply something that takes up actual space, and so is volume. So let's see. So let's look at a couple works of art that are using line. You can see this is Picasso. He's using pretty much uniform line. The width doesn't vary a whole lot, but he uses it masterfully. He uses it to imply hair. He even overlaps his lines to imply depth. Just a great example of a simple line drawing that's very well done. One more here. This is Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was an inventor, artist, just an amazing guy. But you'll see here in these pictures of cats, there's cats, and these look like lions. And that looks like some kind of, I don't know what that, maybe it's supposed to be a cat that's like freaking out about something and its fur's all standing up. I've never seen, I would say it's a sheep, but a sheep doesn't have a tail like that, so I don't know what it is. But anyway, you can see that he uses all these individual little tiny lines to show fur. He also puts the lines closer together in places to show shadow, and let lines farther apart to show where there's highlights and everything in between. So again, masterful use of line. He also uses different thicknesses. If you look on this tiger right here, or lion rather, the outline is thicker than the lines that he's using to show value. Different ways we can use line to express value and shape and contours. So here we go. So what are the 5 basic types of line? This was on your pretest. The 5 basic types are horizontal line, which is a line that goes from left to right. You see this very light blue line here. A vertical line goes up and down or top to bottom. A diagonal line, which is in between horizontal and vertical. Right here, you all know what that is. A curved line, which means it has smooth, it changes directions in a smooth way. And a zigzag or angled line, which changes directions in a very sharp way. Those are the 5 basic types of line. There's also, though, more to the properties of line than just the types of line. There's a length of lines where you have longer lines and shorter lines. There are the width of lines where you have thick lines, like in this one, or you have thin lines, like over here. I'm sorry, I'm I'm showing my, I have this on two screens, so it's messing with my head. So anyway, there's thick lines here and thin lines over here. The length of lines changes like in this one here. Also talk about surface, which kind of like means how you use line to create texture. Texture is actually another one of our elements of art. But you see here how it's used to create this kind of bubbly, scaly type texture. And all these, they're using those lines to create this different surface qualities. And then direction. Direction is just what we talked about, horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, and everything in between. So line is that simple, guys. There's nothing super complicated about it. But if you understand the properties and the different ways to use it, then it helps your artwork. One of the things that I don't see you guys as students do enough of is use different weights of line. That means different thicknesses. So mess around with those ideas. We're going to have an assignment this week for your sketchbook that will have a theme, and you'll get to practice using lines in your sketchbook for your first week's assignment. You'll also have to write this whole entire definition down. Don't just write down what is bold right here. This is bold right here to help you remember what line is. But when you write it in your sketchbook, and I'll talk more about this in that assignment, you've got to write the whole definition on the front of your page for your sketchbook. And I'll show you an example, and we'll be good to go. So look for that assignment after this presentation, and I hope you understand a little bit more about line. Thanks, guys.